want to talk about a story about how video games, anime, and Etika helped me get through my master's degree in computer science, as well as getting my first job, and to make friends, or at least try to make friends and try to hang out and be a normal person. It's kind of weird talking about this right now because one thing is there's not really any special reason why I'm doing this. I'm just charging my dad's car. He has like a Tesla or whatever, and he's like a doctor, whatever. So I'm just charging it for him because why not? And also I just wanted to get out of the house and try not to think about work. But I wanted to talk about how Etika basically helped me a lot with getting through the first year of my job and also getting through my master's degree and also actually grinding programming and all that shit to actually get somewhere with my education and shit. As weird as that sounds. There's a video that he talks about often about, it's this where he's like, I think he was just like, getting really emotional and like talking about striving for shit and not letting anybody tell you what to do or whatever. And that's always spoken to me a lot because one thing is that like there's been many opportunities in my life where I've had people like pick on me or just like tell me so much fucking bullshit, and I think it's just watching Etika just kind of reminded me of like, I don't have to listen to the negativity, and I don't have to react to every stupid little shit that people have to say. I can be positive about shit too. It's kind of weird. I didn't really have any plan for going into this video, but I still miss him. Even though it's been like 5 years at this point. Well, almost 5 years. It's still 4.5 years, since it's January 2024. I think it's literally been 4.5 years. I could tell you straight up that I don't like, the reason why I really want to talk about this video is that I watched Asmon's Gold thing about how, about streaming. And I just wanted to talk about Etika because it made me think about how Etika's fan base during that time in 2018 and shit just kind of like was so entitled to his streaming schedule and shit. And I felt that he probably felt like a lot of pressure to kind of outdo himself every single fucking time, as well as the fact that a lot of his chat was like fucking cancer with not allowing him to like just be himself and shit or try to play a caricature of him. I don't know. I just wish that just speaking as like a programmer, like I get that for some people, streaming, like I also work in like the government, so like people in the government can be like pretty lazy, and then people in the government can also be very hardworking or in between. Like I feel like streaming is probably like the same thing. Like some people, they have the advantage of like, I don't know, being like a girl on Twitch and then getting half naked and getting a bunch of views and some shit. Or, some people, they're just not that pretty or not that smart, but they still grind and they still don't get anywhere, or it's all this other factors in life. I'm thinking about like, I've been watching like a lot of old videos about Etika when it came to like his entire career, I guess. Like, for me, I kind of got into Etika when he was semi-big, when I think 2017 with his JoJo streams or whatever, since I was really big into JoJo. But I kind of looked at some of the past videos too, and it's really crazy looking back on his life, or like how much he struggled, to be honest with you, with going through a homeless shelter and going through all this shit. Like, I cannot imagine, because to be honest with you, like, I'm lucky because of my parents, because both of them are doctors, and I never really had to like worry about money. I never had to worry about having a place to live and some shit. But it's one thing when you deal with being kind of like in the shadow of somebody who's provided for you, and feeling like you don't really have a voice to follow your dreams and really do anything with your life because you feel kind of trapped by that mentality. And one thing I've always respected about Etika is that he's always strived to always make a name for himself. Whenever it was being like a streamer on YouTube, and he was the first one, let's be fucking real. He was the first fucking streamer on YouTube. He was the first streamer that really was the most well-known guy. Like, before Ludwig getting like this whole partnership, the shit with YouTube, they should have partnered up with Etika or some shit. Or at least, I don't know. It's like, when it comes to creative expression, like, I feel like as a programmer, like, I think a lot of people, when it comes to like a lot of like technology and stuff, it's like, yeah, you could be always logical about a bunch of shit, and you can always just be like, oh, you know, here's your fucking use case or whatever, and here's like whatever. But you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to like being human or whatever, I think it's more important that you just have to just express like a sense of joy at the end of the day. Because I feel like when it comes to like streaming, when it comes to the overall streaming thing, when it comes to people just visiting a person's stream, there's an entertaining part of it, but there is also like a deeper connection of feeling connected and a sense of joy and harmony, if that makes sense, where it becomes a parasocial relationship or whatever. But I think there is a saying where when you're part of an event and you're part of somebody just sharing their experiences or whatever, it becomes special to that person. And regardless if that's healthy or not, I think in some cases it can be unhealthy, in some cases it can be like gray, or maybe it can be healthy in maybe some things. But regardless, I think with Etika, he had a presence of mind, and he had a presence of kindness and generosity, and a sense of harmony, and a sense of presence, a sense of mindfulness when it came to being on stream. Because when you watch some of his old videos, there's a sense of him just being alive in the moment, and being alive at the moment with his viewers, and feeling excited to talk about whatever it is that he was going through with his life, with whatever, or whatever he was thinking. And I think it's something that like a lot of people, when it comes to social media, when it comes to just nowadays, when it comes to like smartphone and shit like that, I'm guilty of this shit too, where it's hard to like just connect with people and just be yourself. Like in the workplace, you know, when it comes to like working in the workplace, I got in trouble with like a coworker or whatever, and I don't know, just seeing how like fake shit people are made me realize like people in like the real world, people in like when you're working at a job and shit, are just fake as fuck. Like, society is like really fake as fuck when it comes to just being yourself and trying to make something out of yourself and trying to connect with other people, or trying to find a sense of belonging and community or whatever. Like nowadays society, it's like you're just divided by being around like-minded people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being around like-minded people. I think being Etika's community, there's like a lot of people that were gamers, anime fans, people that just wanted a good time and shit, and you know, trolls and edgy people and whatnot, right? But I think there's something to be said about having a sense of difference, but being okay with that, which I feel like is missing with American society. I don't know. I just sort of wish that I could have properly expressed my thoughts, but one thing I wanted to say about Etika is that I've been watching a lot of his content when I was, when I'm doing my job and stuff, and it kind of always, a lot of his advice about, you know, trying to do push and pull with when it comes to people is definitely true, where there's always, people have different styles of wanting to be communicated in a certain way, and you just have to figure out the threshold and try to balance that out and shit. Second part, I guess I'll talk about anime. There's this anime I used to watch when I was in high school. I think when I was like a junior in high school in 2014. Up to now, it was called Ace of the Diamond, and I really related a lot to like the main character a lot, Asian samurai, whatever, just because it kind of reminded me of myself, or at least a sense of like wanting to achieve something, failing as fuck, getting stronger every single fucking day, getting better at baseball or whatever. It's a baseball sports anime. And then kind of failing to measure up at certain points, but then succeeding and then just getting stronger at the end of the day. It kind of really helped me with my job as like a programmer. Like, as like trying to grind for a job, trying to improve my skills in programming with like Python, with like Java. Like right now, I'm just getting better at my job or whatever. I can't really talk about it because it's a government job and all the specifics and shit like that, but all I can say is that like listening to the OST and kind of like watching some of the clips of the show, it's always kind of like gave me a sense of enjoyment and excitement with wanting to improve and shit. Also, Berserk 1997, I think, with like asking yourself like deep questions about life, asking about who you are outside of the people around you, who are you, and then it's like relationships and dreams. Like dreams are really important, trying to achieve your dream, but also relationships are important. Like if you don't have a good relationship, if you have a relationship that's meaningful, that's probably more important sometimes than a dream at certain points. Video games. Yakuza 0. That really helped me with the job search, especially with the scene of Kiryu versus Dante Kuze, one of the lieutenants, in the sewer scene with Kuze just saying like, what it means to be a Yakuza, and then just basically beating the shit out of Kiryu, and then Kiryu just finally beating his ass on the ground. It's always kind of like reminded me about like, I failed so many things in my life when it came to programming. Failed in college a lot with like my master's degree, with like retaking like operating systems 3 times, and in my undergrad like 3 times as well, with like data structures and algorithms and shit, like just failing that shit all the time. I don't know. That scene of just Kiryu having to fight Dante Kuze in the sewer, and then just in Yakuza 0 just fighting him like 5 times, or 5 or 4 times, I believe. It always kind of made me realize that, you don't really lose until you give up, Like, I can't... And every experience that you lose at, it always gives you another perspective of how to try better. Like in programming, when you don't figure out a problem right away and there's an error message, you look at the error message and you look at the variables and you look at the conditions, and then you try to like problem solve from there in terms of like trying to find what it is, like what the possibilities are, what are the conditions, what are the requirements, and then maybe Google searching it and then thinking it through more and more and more. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. I really hope this doesn't get really popular, just some kind of personal video. Maybe some people can appreciate it, maybe some people won't, I don't know. All I can say is I'm really grateful for knowing that I experienced being part of Etika's live streams. I'm grateful for the some of the anime that's inspired me with not giving up on life, and then teaching me valuable lessons about failure, and then gaining a more deeper understanding about deeper questions I should be asking myself about dreams and relationships and shit. And also with like video games, kind of transporting me to another world, and then Yakuza 0 kind of like teaching me about the deeper meaning about life, like life hits you hard, but ultimately, if you choose not to give up, if you choose to keep staying in it, it's worth it. And it always makes me kind of sad that Etika took his own life, because he's inspired me a lot as a human being. He reminded me a lot about my old self, where I used to be very charismatic when I was younger, and I used to have a lot of friends, but honestly, it doesn't matter if I don't have a lot of friends or not. I just want to live my life in a way that honors him, whenever it's being kind to other people, whenever it's giving people a helping hand, and just trying to give a sense of joy and humor, I guess, to other people, Anyway, that's really it. See ya.